school counselors of Reddit. What is your job really like? Emotional band-aids. Serious issues arrive and we either have to file a CPS report, refer to outside agency, or contact parents. Dealt with variety of things. Cutters in 5th grade. Domestic abuse witnesses. Suicide outcries. These are not everyday occurrences, but frequent enough, for the most part, are not certified to deal with these hardcore issue, so thus the referral out. Daily basis it's guidance lessons on bullying, self-esteem, healthy living, respect, etc. Also students come in when they just need someone to talk to. A big part of my job is also identifying students who might need to be referred for special education or dyslexia assessments and processing the paperwork. Oh, and meeting with parents and teachers. That's a big part too. Helping teachers with discipline issues. Talking to parents about how to better help their child at home. Love the job. College and career readiness versus emotional support counselor. Making sure students are taking the courses they need to take. Ensuring they are on track for graduation. Help them with the college application process. Versus being there for the kids when they have questions about life or when things go wrong and they could use someone to talk to. A lot of the replies here are sour, but they need to understand it's a tough job. I don't envy the counselors at my school. It's tough to develop that one-on-one relationship with 600 kids, 5 counselors. Like you have 5 counselors for 600 kids, or each has a 600 student caseload, 3k total. Not me, but one of my friends was a school social worker. Her job consists of mediating students who were not getting along, providing support to students that were struggling either academically, socially, personally, and facilitating group bonding activities from students. I'm currently in a master's program to become a school counselor. Your role in a school really depends on what age level you're working with. Elementary school counselors do much more classroom lessons where they can reach more students. High school counselors do more scheduling and college career readiness. Across all grade levels though, school counselors are there to support students with academic or socio-emotional issues. There are many factors that hinder the effectiveness of a school counselor. Many schools give them additional tasks that are not in their job description, like coordinating state standardized tests and having them discipline students, which can destroy rapport. The American School Counseling Association, ASCAR, recommends that the student to counselor ratio be 250:1 in order for the counselor to be most effective. Some schools have over 600 kids for one school counselor. In short, school counselors are there to support students in any way that they can, but their job is not easy. If more people understood their role, maybe we could get more school counselors in schools. A counselor that knew the secret to getting kids to properly fill out scholarship applications would be worth their weight in gold. I'm a little late to this thread, but my mom is a high school counselor and boy does she work. She spends a lot of her time at the end of each semester creating schedules for her students next semester. She works at one of the smaller schools in our county, but she still has to create roughly 220 schedules a semester. She also spends a lot of time meeting with students having personal issues and doing what she can to help. She recently received a grant to train a therapy dog that she takes to school with her daily to help students who are having meltdowns in her office. Aside from that, she runs a number of clubs such as NHS and, for a while, the jazz band, and teaches a Good Beginnings class. Good Beginnings is a program that helps pregnant high school girls prepare for motherhood and provides them with a support community so they don't have to face the difficulties of teen pregnancy alone. She helps plan and run a majority of the school's ceremonies and created a character development program that won her a few awards. She also runs a Facebook page that posts scholarship opportunities for high school seniors. Outside of school, she will often take responsibility for struggling students. The amount of extra siblings she's brought home over the years to help out is incredible. We even fostered one of her students for 6 months when she fell on hard times. I've been out of the house for a while now, so there are definitely things I'm missing here, but what she does for her students is incredible. School counselors often get a bad rap, which is really quite sad. I've never met anyone who works as hard as my mom does for her students, so if you get the chance, thank you counselors for all the hard work they put in. Chances are, they don't hear it enough. Some great answers here already, but from your typical American school. Elementary school. If the school district is progressive enough to have counselors, you are essentially an assistant principal, special education teacher, counselor, social worker, or any hat you need to wear that day. Running lunch groups, coordinating 504 plans, IEPs, preparing kids for middle school, working on social interactions, and really anything to fill in the gaps for what these children are not getting at home. Middle school. 504s, IEPs, behavior interventions, peer mediations, planning for high school, college and career planning exploration, severe mental health concerns, for example, cutting, depression, anxiety, again, wearing whatever hat you need to that day. High school. In most school districts, planning high school schedules, college planning, paperwork, and more paperwork. Some schools are starting to take the scheduling aspect out of the job, but most are heavy in the standard guidance counselor job description. School counselors are one of the most underutilized parts of a school, and teachers administrators misunderstand what they should be using them for. TLDR. Most schools are starting to move away from the guidance counselor model of the guy or gal that sits in their office all day doing schedules and coaching sports teams, to moving to a school counseling model of actually providing students with time to meet one-on-one or in groups to talk and work out problems in their lives. High school counselors are heavy on paperwork for college. I interned as a school counselor for a semester during college. Most of it involved meeting with students who weren't doing very well in school, like skipping or failing classes, or trying to meet with their parents to let their parents know what was going on. The focus of a school counselor is to get as many kids into college as possible. Yes, we would mention vocational school, but there was a huge amount of pressure to push college. I also had to do a lot of charting. Overall, it's a good job. You have to put up with a lot of teenager drama, but as long as you keep good boundaries, it's kind of fun. In elementary school, my counselor would take all the kids with divorced parents out of class for special lessons. We had to draw each parent's house and talk about our feelings or whatever. She also did awesome puppet shows maybe twice a year. Middle school, I only saw the counselor once when I got expelled and once when I got to my new school. High school, they're actually super supportive, and at least for my school you could go see them any time of the day and get help with test scores, college, finances, social issues, home issues. It was basically free therapy. Hey, I remember this. Seriously though, school counselors are at the mercy of their school administration principal. If the principal doesn't know that a school counselor is the most educated person on the campus, then the counselor will be underutilized. So a school counselor needs to ask a principal what they know about counselors' abilities. Most don't know crap about counselor preparation. You must make it what you want. We had counselors in my high school, but I honestly didn't know they were also there to help you with your mental emotional welfare until the end of my senior year, when they had us rate them and their services. I thought they only processed transcripts and dealt with academic issues like setting you up for summer school if you failed a class or something. Not exactly a counselor, but at a primary school I took the children who had more difficulty learning aside every week or so. Quiet prods to get some information about home life. How have you been sleeping? But I never had anything serious to deal with. But lots of little things between kids would spark something big enough for me to have a converse. I don't know, they were very forgiving to one another, especially when they could find someone else to side against. Usually me. But yeah, the gig turned out to mostly getting the kids to do catch-up worksheets on the same stuff their classmates were doing, but in like a 1-on-5 setting so I could be more attentive. School counselor here. When I actually get to be a school counselor, it's great. I get to talk to students about a wide variety of issues they're having, help them resolve problems between themselves and with other adults, and get to do class lessons on social and emotional issues. I also run small groups and do some school-wide PBIS things. I work at a very understaffed elementary school though, so my ability to do my job is hindered by the many additional tasks I was assigned to do that take my time away from the students. I'm making the move to high school next year, but will miss being an elementary counselor. Currently have 1 year left for my Masters of Ed Psych degree. School counseling. But during our master program we also have to work in a practicum and an internship in the schools. As a school counselor, our main responsibilities are as follows. Guidance curriculum. This is where the counselors go around to each class and present a lesson plan to every student. Usually ranges from college and career readiness, bullying, navigating middle school, etc. Individual planning. Each student meets with their counselor over the course of the school year to discuss where they are academically and to plan ahead for the future. Responsive services. This is one of the more common responsibilities of a counselor. Here we are dealing with the everyday occurrences within the school. Bullying, disruptive students, fights, etc. Essentially, we are there to put out fires. System support. This is where we are attending training seminars and PBIS meetings. Positive behavioral intervention and support, to learn how we can better serve our teachers and our students. The grade level you work with does determine what I would be doing more, however. For example, at the high school level, my responsibilities consist more of making sure kids are on track for graduation and prepared for college, whereas in the middle school, we are more focused on getting kids on a good academic path. I'm a high school counselor. Definitely a big focus on making sure that students are on track for graduation requirements, but you need a counseling degree for the job, so it's nice to be able to use therapeutic skills when students need help getting through the day. People want to hear about the fricked up stories, and they happen, but it doesn't define my job very well. I'm a school social worker in California. Went to grad school for my MSW with an emphasis in schools my last year of the program. Had to get a pupil personnel credential as well. My job is great. I love working with the population and each day is somewhat different. Some of my duties include individual and group counseling, leading class workshops and assemblies, parent workshops, linkages to resources for families in need. I also respond to crises and conduct threat assessments and make CPS reports on occasion. I work with admin and teachers and suggest specific behavior interventions that might work best with specific students. I also track infraction and behavior data throughout the year in order to follow trends and student behavior and see how to make things better at our school. So many different jobs in one, which makes it so enjoyable. I would say at our campus, almost 50% of 5th graders have cell phones. Incidents involving cyberbullying and things of that nature increase every year. Couple of years back we had a student asking girls for booty pics on Messenger and posting pictures of joints. It's an interesting generation growing up with all this technological access this young. I am currently in my master's program working as a school social worker. My job usually consists of collaborating with the administration, principal guidance counselors etc. to find out what kinds of programs or events we will have and who will be inviting to the school. After those meetings are done, I meet with students either in a group or individually for counseling. Most of them are struggling in school, whether it be because of an issue at home, school or mental health, and we work on bringing them to a level where they are ready to learn and engage in the classroom. We usually meet and talk about video games or sports or other hobbies and eventually trail into some deeper issues. Sometimes it gets boring and repetitive, but other times I am so impressed by what many of these students have to say. Every so often I have to deal with some drama or issue that gets annoying, but most of the time I am always excited to see these students and hear about their lives and try to come up with solutions to help them when they need. I work as a student counselor in the Netherlands on a high school for middle class education, age 12-17. My work mainly consists of guiding students who struggle with behavioral problems, psychological problems, drug abuse, child protection in some cases, and basically anything you can think of that would be classified as a serious problem. My office is situated as a timeout zone for children that get removed from the classroom by the teacher. They get a note written by the teacher that tells me the reason of their removal, and they get work for the remaining time of the class in question. I usually talk about what happened and offer advice and issue the consequences of their actions as forms of detention or extra assignments, which I then communicate to the class's mentor. I also register the students who were absent without a proper reason during classes and call them out on why they were absent. Lastly, I just walk around the school in my downtime to speak to the students in an informal manner to ask them how they are doing at home or talk about their hobbies and such. Just making small talk to get a proper bond with the children so they know where to go when they are facing tougher times. As a counselor, I really feel like you should make rounds outside of your office to get yourself know to the students. I love my job and seeing my students develop is amazing in such a small amount of time. Even though the job can be pretty rough at times. I've worked at a number of schools in different grade levels. Every school really is different as far as school counselor duties are concerned because admin will have different expectations of you regardless of your job description. This is where unions should come in but don't. I've ran counseling small groups, classroom guidance lessons, taught sex ed, surprisingly fun, parent meetings. Parents do not understand what bullying really means. Planned career days, led assemblies, individual counseling, provided turkeys for Thanksgiving, and gifts around the holidays. It's a rewarding job and I preferred it by far to when I was a teacher. The worst part for me was handling discipline, which is not what a school counselor is supposed to do, but you end up doing it, especially in the elementary level where you are more or less used as an underpaid assistant principal. I also had to write numerous sexual harassment and bullying reports and had to make those tough calls home. I'm now at a teenage and adult level and I prefer it by far even though I make less $. I am a school counselor in a low-income rural school. I do everything from wash students' clothes and provide them with a place to take a shower to sitting with them while they are interviewed by law enforcement and CPS. There is no average day for me. Some days I help groups of students figure out how to get along or how to just coexist with people they don't like. Basic coping skills that they are missing from home. Some days I am listening to a student tell me they are suicidal or harming themselves and have to make the calls to parents and other agencies to help them get the services they need. It can be an incredibly stressful and saddening job, but some days you get to win. No matter how small, it reminds you why you are there to begin with. Not a counselor but commenting because I'm interested. I had 2 school counselors who were absolutely incredible human beings and really helped me through some stuff. I once had a student who was sexually trafficked walk into my office to tell me she wanted to commit suicide. I had to ask her to step outside for a few minutes because I had state testing materials in my office that needed to be locked up first and be kept secure. I was able to see her about 5 minutes later and as she talked I couldn't give her the attention she needed because in the back of my mind I was thinking about all of the testing responsibilities I had to take care of. That's basically how every spring semester goes for me. I am a TAE for the counseling center at a high school. Lots of kids coming in with drama and just want to vent about it. I have seen multiple people come in that wanted help and were suicidal. Also a shot ton of people here just to drop classes. There is most likely more that goes on that I don't see. My school counselors just handed out pregnancy tests and asked the couple's girls what they could learn from this scare when it was negative. It was a waste of talent. My stepdaughter is starting college this fall and wants to do this as a career. Thanks for the insights, I'm forwarding this thread to her. I'll answer on behalf of my wife. She works in a very low income district. She deals with CPS regularly. These kids' home lives are not good. The only meals they have are at the school. She basically tries to show these kids some care and attention, while teaching them proper ways of socializing in society and dealing with their emotions. She also tries to make sure the kids receive the help outside of school they need. When she was in HS, it was more HS drama, but also being prepared for dealing with crisis situations and helping kids with depression, on top of helping them with their post-HS dreams, and creating a schedule for the school. I'm a mental health counselor contracted for Baltimore City Public Schools. I have a caseload of students who I see weekly for individual, family, and group therapy sessions, and I do classroom presentations programs, and crisis intervention, among other things. Individual therapy sessions are from 20-60 minutes depending on the student's willingness or energy and my own available time. It's incredibly demanding but rewarding work, and shows you how resilient kids really are. I've had a student go through his trauma narrative and it made me feel worse than he did because of the horrifying things he experienced. That happens a lot. My job is mostly to give them coping skills while building up their sense of self, because there's only so much I can do to change them while being unable to change their circumstances. My mom has been a counselor school psychologist for about 35 years. She has experienced so much: suicides, car accidents involving students, family financial issues, broken homes, abusive parents, family members, mental health problems, and so much more. I can't imagine how she handled all the stresses of one school, but still having to come home to 2 kids to take care of. I really can't wait for her to retire because she deserves it. I worked as family liaison before moving into teaching. It's the closest most primary schools in England have to a counsellor. It was basically chasing things up all day. So a teacher reports, online system, the Billy came to school in dirty clothes. I first check, if I don't know off the top of my head, are there any other concerns regarding Billy? Dirty clothes aren't a problem by themselves. But if the boy is repeatedly coming to school having had no breakfast, for example, as well as having dirty clothes, then that might be a cause for concern. Where there is a child we in school are concerned about, I check up on them throughout the week. I meet with parents a lot to talk to them about healthy eating, how to access benefits, how to access the food bank, behavioral problems they are having at home, that kind of stuff. I would also liaise a lot with other services like doctors, social services, etc. There's a big push that organizations share information. How was the wedding? Did you give Megan a nice gift? Not a counselor, but I did coaching as a college student. Basically student counterparts of a counselor. The term coach was used because being a counselor meant having a license. It was an effective program that allowed students to open out more because they were talking with a peer. Clients usually voiced classroom problems, teachers, grades, stuff like that. Some family problems and occasionally love problems. I've had some cry while we talked, and you could really feel that some of them have been wanting to really get it out but no one to really talk to about it. When we feel that a client case were out of our capabilities, we refer them to our counselors, but I haven't had an experience. We coaches also had regular talks with our counselors to look out for our well-being as well. Can't go around talking to clients if we ourselves are not emotionally capable. Overall, it was a fulfilling experience. I made sure to have a client once per week. I believe mental health is just as important as physical health, maybe even more. I'm a school counselor from Singapore and I've a master's degree in counseling, together with a diploma in school counseling. I work with students aged 6 to 12 and my role involves supporting students with social, emotional and behavioral issues, from anxiety, anger and emotional regulation, bullying, relationship issues, grief and loss, self-harming behaviors, abuse to trauma. I don't do assessments or testing as I'm not qualified to do it. I do screenings and reach out to external agencies to help with a more comprehensive and detailed assessments and diagnosis. Some of my other school counselors work with older students in a different school setting, involving different issues such as substance abuse, gangs, gender orientation, career guidance and eating issues. When I'm free, I'll do my rounds, catching up with students at common places, check in with them on the current issues or gossip. I also get close with the more problematic ones to gain insider info. Looking at trends and data gathering, I conceptualize and plan targeted guidance sessions for individuals as well as groups. Collaboration is key and hence frequent interaction with teachers, key personnel as well as parents are necessary. Good relationship with these stakeholders are necessary in order to get things accepted and done. Working with them can be a challenge though, as some are ingrained with old, tried and tested methods, with some pulling their rank over me. Teachers are more premium. I do attend monthly clinical supervision sessions together with other school counselors. It is during such sessions that we seek how we can improve our counseling skills and better conceptualize our cases. Some of us are certified to use a particular counseling modality, though it's not mandated. Most of us have received training in several modalities so that we have a variety of tools to work with the different issues faced. Many times I'm asked to perform tasks that is not within my job scope. Trying to explain to them about professionalism and qualifications can be viewed as uncooperative. A lot of times, it can be a lonely and unappreciated profession as there is only one of me serving the entire school of approx 800, due to increase to 1,400 in 3 years' time. Sometimes I do reflect and ponder what it is like to be a counselor in a different setting, or maybe in a different country. Dreams. One of my best friends used to be a student therapist at my college. He couldn't tell me too many details, obviously, but I know he really enjoyed working with the students and helping them through their issues. There were a few clients he had that, after session was over, he openly wept in his office because of what the client had said. I thought about going into this field for a while, but I don't think I could handle that part of it. I wouldn't be able to keep it together when it counts the most. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.